Hello and aloha, Mr. Lance. A big congrats on my partner. It's sweet and so relatable.
Oh, thank you. It's a
Oh,
pleasure
you're
to
so,
be talking with you.
you're so welcome. Let's begin by telling a quick synopsis of the film. Describe my partner to our viewers in your own words.
Okay, it's a boys' love story about two high school seniors that are seniors at Lahaina High School. One is a native Hawaiian and one is a Filipino. And they are from feuding friend groups because the Filipino group is interacting with natural resources in a way that conflicts with how the native Hawaiian group feels people should be handling natural resources. And then their social studies teacher forces the two boys into a school project together. And then the
And
boys' love plot goes from there.
very good. It's like Romeo and Juliet with LGBTQ twist.
Yes.
So you co-wrote the script, you co-wrote the script from your original story. What inspired you to conceptualize the narrative? Give us a genesis.
So actually, I wasn't the original writer for the story, and we kept going through writers, and then we were going to lose the grant. So I stepped in and I wrote an 8-part web series, which was basically how we got the grant. And then we went back and asked them because we didn't have enough money to do what I had written to just do a movie. And so that's when the other people who have the screenwriting credits, they came in and actually reduced my story into a movie length film. So that's sort of the story, the history of it. But so yeah, the story is basically all experiences from my life, just shuffled around and rearranged. Except for the moment where Haku fantasizes about Miss Thomas. That's completely Kali'i. That is not from my experience at all. He just threw that in. It's great. I'm glad he did.
Yes.
But yeah, but the rest of it is me.
What I love best about the film is the perfect marriage of Hawaiian and Filipino cultures, right? You're a Filipino who grew up in Maui. Now, tell us how you effectively combined the two. Is it wrong for me to assume that you're more familiar with the Hawaiian culture because you grew up there, but yet the Filipino culture here is so loud and clear? Talk to us about that.
Sure. So, in Hawaii, there's this very long history of the working class being of different races. Of course, the Hawaiians have been here from the beginning. And then Chinese came, and then they brought in Japanese, and then they stopped doing that, and they brought in Filipinos. So the people who worked on the sugar plantations and then the pineapple plantations are sort of this group of stuff. And so in the working class today, you have the descendants of these people who were working on the plantations or any other connection. Anyway, so for me, I grew up, in that uh, working class environment. But then as I grew older, in the political stuff I was doing, community organizing stuff, I became very much involved with the Hawaiian community. And of course, also growing up, interact with friends who are Hawaiian. So I have that experience. And Kali'i, the director, is Hawaiian. So in things that he, I think, thought might look better in a different way, he adjusted the script. And yeah, on the Filipino side, that's basically from me and my family and my in-laws and personal experience and experiences of my relatives.
You know what? Real quick, by the way, off point. What's your heritage, your lineage in the Philippines?
Sure. So my family comes from Batangas and Masbate, but my Lola has half siblings and step siblings who are Ilocano. And my spouse is also Ilocano. And so, yeah, so although I'm not Ilocano, everything in Hawaii is very Ilocano oriented.
Oh,
And so my work, I taught briefly in the Ilocano language and literature program, but I myself am not Ilocano. We're Tagalog and Masbate.
I myself is pure Tagalog. My mom is Bulacan and my dad is Laguna.
Huh. Well,
Yes.
my Lola's grandmother, her and her sisters came from Bulacan.
Aw. Now,
Yes.
talk to us about your main leads, Kaipo Dudoit and Jayron Munoz. They did an amazing job here, considering this is their first full feature film. How did you zero in on them?
Okay, so Kaipo, both Kaylee and I both wanted him from the beginning, hands down. There was no question about it. He's a community theater actor. And he's also involved in the hula world. And so, actually, very quick story about him. So, the guy who plays Uncle Jack was the guy who went viral doing a hula dance a number of years ago. So, anyways, so a friend of mine who moved to Hawaii to go to graduate school from Manila, I took him to a hula thing that both Alakai and Kaipo, because they're part of the same school, were dancing at. And so I pointed to Alakai and I said, "Oh, this is the guy who went viral." And so he like started doing a live. And then when it was done, he showed it to me. And the whole live was of Kaipo.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh no, that's not Alakai." He goes, "Oh, I know, but that guy's really hot." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, so I mean, it was like just that response. I was like, "Okay, we have to get Kaipo because here we go. We have the audience, and the audience is telling us that like." So the Kaipo was for sure. Unfortunately, it worked out, and he was interested. Jayron was a slightly different story, and the story was originally to be in Ilocano, and we put a casting call out in Ilocano, and we got absolutely no responses. So Kaylee's like, "Lance, we got to change this to Tagalog." And I was like, "No, we can't. It has to be Ilocano. That is the quintessential Hawaii experience of Filipinos. It has to be Ilocano." And after 2 weeks, I mean, we were really pushing. I mean, we had people trying to get people who were known at, nobody would do it. After a couple of weeks, I said, "Okay, fine, I get it. We need to cast. We're not getting results. Let's change it to Tagalog." So we did. And then instantly, like within a day, we got hundreds and hundreds of responses. And Jayron was one of the people that responded. And so Kaylee and I went, mostly Kaylee, but he got sort of a short list. And then I looked through them. And so he said the short list of people, give us a reel or do this or do that. And so Jayron got the role because he did the best.
Well, you
So
know
yeah,
what? J-Run is going to do a full feature Hollywood film coming up, right?
Kaipo. Kaipo, yeah. He's
Oh,
already shot
Kaipo.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's already shot it. He's playing David in the live remake of Lilo and Stitch.
Below in the light. That's right. So here's my question to you though. Who do you identify with? Pili or Edmar?
Both. More with Edmar, but also there are parts of me that I think maybe people can see in the Pili character. But I definitely, I mean, I'm Filipino, so I obviously identify with Edmar more.
Edmar.
But there are sprinkles of me in the Pili character too.
So you're a lawyer, an award-winning Filipino and Hawaiian music producer, and a series editor of 15 books about West Maui. Will you find time to create another film again? I mean, how was your experience making the movie?
Well, I loved it. So first of all, the cast and the crew loved being there. And it was like not my previous film experiences. I mean, people would show up like an hour or more early for the call time. They'd stay late. I mean, people became friends. It was just this wonderful synergistic thing that I wish that everybody who has film experiences has this experience because it was really wonderful. So one of the things, because we didn't do it in Ilocano, I promised that I would do a project in Ilocano. And I had written a story 15 years ago that possibly could have done that. And I was working with Lilia Santiago before she passed, and we just couldn't get everything together. Anyways, long story short, Jade Castro is the director, and we shot an Ilocano BL web series in June, and hopefully it will be coming out early next year. So yes, absolutely, I'm continuing down this path of film.
Oh, great.
Um,
That's great. That's great to hear. You know what? And so my partner went through the whole festival run. Did it get any awards in any of the festivals that went to?
yeah, so it got the audience award at the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival. That was actually where our world premiere was. It got outstanding excellence at LGBT Unbounded Film Festival. It got the Lily Tomlin Memorial Award at the San Antonio LGBTQ International Film Festival. It got Best Foreign Film at the Mpumalanga International Film Festival in South Africa. I know I'm missing a few. Oh, it got honorable mention for narrative feature in the Made in Hawaii at the Hawaii International Film Festival. and I feel like I'm missing one. But yeah. Oh, and we got the grand jury award, of course, at the Honolulu Rainbow Film Festival.
The big
So yeah,
one.
yeah, the big one.
And you, how can you forget? But see, now you got a lot of awards. Now it's in the bug. I mean, that's you got the bug now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
and we were just in our last one was at the Hong Kong Lesbian and Gay Film Festival 2 weekends ago, and actually there were some Filipinos in Hong Kong that came to the two screenings and chatted with me after.
oh, you should have entered it at the Cinema Diverse here in Palm Springs.
It was actually we did show it at the, but it wasn't. I don't think we were up. We weren't in a contention for an award, but it did. It was actually at Cinema Diverse last year in September, and I
And
went to it.
and you didn't call me about it,
Well,
Lance.
me going, it was very last minute. I wasn't originally, yeah, I wasn't, someone else was going to go and then they couldn't. And the last minute I went. And actually, so did Kaleo, who played Kona. But he
Oh,
came from Las Vegas or something. He was in Las Vegas and he basically, him and his friends like drove. And then I think they
all the way
immediately
there.
drove back. Yeah, I guess you can do that. It's
Yeah.
close.
4 hours. Yep.
Oh,
You know what? Also, what I love about best about the film too, it's like a travelogue, right? I mean, it shows you the beautiful location. Talk to, because Hawaii plays a character here as well. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about the setting.
so it takes place in Lahaina town, and it actually, maybe many of your viewers will know that on August 8th last year, there was a huge fire and it completely destroyed the town. Over 10,000 people have been displaced. Over 2,000 homes were destroyed, like 1,500 commercial structures were destroyed. And so, yeah, so the whole purpose of this film, when we got funding for, was to show a slice of life of how it is to live in West Maui, how people live, how young people live in West Maui. And the intention, I think, was to focus on how the people are, and I think taking for granted what the background would be. And it turns out that now our film is sort of an archive of what West Maui looked like just before the fire. So it's very sad. Most people are still displaced. Lahaina has not begun to rebuild at all. And so, yeah, so our film, I mean, the sort of silver lining is that our film holds cinematic space for this time just before the fire. Um, and I think, the last one that was shot in Lahaina that has extensive footage of Lahaina town was shot in the 60s. So it's a very
Wow.
different, and it was like supposed to be supposedly Tahiti. So yeah, I think there's very little in the cinematography of West Maui in the recent history for people to look back on outside of documentaries. So this definitely holds a special place, I think, for people to remember. Um,
I totally agree. That's amazing. You just gave me a hook for news.
oh,
Like, but anyway, also, I'm not gonna let you go without
okay.
talking about the soundtrack. Like the movie, there's a perfect blend of Filipino and Hawaiian music here. Like the Hawaiian version of Lerong Lerong Sinta. I was like, wow, it's amazing, by the way. So talk to us about the music.
Sure. So there's, I think, 27 songs total that are part of the soundtrack. And I would say 2/3 of the songs come from 3 albums that I produced. Leina Honua Pi'ilani, Songs of West Maui, Leina Honua Pi'ilani na Meleho, which is the part 2. And then the first Kuili album, and Leron Leron Ea, which is the Hawaiian version of Leron Leron Sinta, came from the Kuili 1 album, and those were Philippine folk songs that were Hawaiianized, mostly. The last song in the movie, which is Aloha Oi, it's sung in Ilocano, is a Hawaiian song that has been Filipinized. Um, so we used songs from those albums, and then also Keli'i does a lot of stuff in the music industry in Hawaii with video, and so he basically asked friends of his, and I asked some of mine if they would contribute, and so the other songs come from island artists who were willing to, without having us have to pay, uh,
Oh,
be able to use and showcase their music, which now has been shown all over the world, and I think most of them are very happy with that. And then there was one song, and that's the song Halina, and it happens when the two boys are on the phone with each other. So that was written by Charisse, who plays Mai Mai, and she wrote that at the table read just before we started shooting. and it describes Jayron's first experience of meeting Kaipo, which is he couldn't look him in the eye and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, if you're interested in knowing what that experience was, listen to Helena and you'll know the whole story. But yeah, so she did it. And then our sound person was the recording engineer. So yeah, the music is it's this really its own little story within the story. And hopefully people enjoy all the different sounds and how, Kili'i sort of blended all of them together.
I enjoyed it. And so here's my question. After a successful festival run, my partner is now available on major video on demand platforms. What do you hope for viewers to get after watching My Partner?
Well, I hope that they understand how people in Hawaii live and how the different experiences that both Native people have of their place and how, working class immigrant youth, how they experience the world. And that, people can understand that, when the working people come together, we can basically accomplish anything. And when we're divided, there's just lots of conflict and suffering.
And you can see a little sneak peek into Lance Collins's life. A big, big, big congrats on My Partner. Again, a sweet boy love coming of age story, a travelogue, and you will learn a thing or two about Hawaiian and Filipino culture. So rent it on VOD.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Lance, Attorney Lance, mahalo and salamat for the movie. And aloha hanggang sa muli.
Aloha.